What's up, Knife Tube? It's Diamond Cut Steel, and you guys are going to learn something today. So, how's everybody's day going? Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's had a good weekend. Bucky Ducky and Cycloptopus says hello to everyone. What we're going to do today, we have a Kershaw Chill. This is the one that in that cut test performed. It's an 8CR, and it performed at, I think it did like 16 cuts. And that shouldn't have happened. It should have done quite a bit more than that. It's just burnt factory edge, all there is to it. You know, it did drop right back to shaving. It'll shave easily. But, you know, edge is going to, little bit of cutting, the edge will just fall off right again. And when it's doing that, the steel has been fatigued, and it is time to remove that steel. In this case, it's not from use, it's from a burnt factory or overheated factory edge. And that's just part of it. Remember, guys, these companies are doing these either on a belt or a wheel, and no matter how careful they are, they're fatiguing that steel with heat. You know, and it can range from slightly to terrible. They can burn the hell out of it, and usually they don't. But think about it this way. No matter how careful they are, think of how fine that apex is. The teeny amount of steel that is right there at that apex. Just think about how quick that gets screaming hot. Even if you can grab the blade like this, it's not even warm. But that real fine apex point, no matter how careful they are, they're on a powered abrasive, that steel is getting hot. It doesn't matter if the blade is totally touchable to the hand. You know, it doesn't even matter if you go like this and it's not even warm. When you're running that across that belt or that wheel, that teeny amount of steel that's right there at that apex is getting overheated. That's just the way it is. And that is why a factory edge will never last like a fresh edge will, or any belt edge or wheel edge. The one exception to that would be something like a Tormac, where it's running a wet wheel at very slow RPM. That would be probably the one exception. But other than that, realistically, if it's a powered abrasive, I don't care how good or careful you are, you're overheating that edge to some extent. 8CR typically, this went about probably 1/3 of what I would expect this to do. Maybe 50% actually, probably 40-50% of what it should have done. And that's just heat fatigued steel. It's the way it is. So here, we're going to give DMT one more try. Here we have a brand spanking new 220 DMT. Let's see how bad this one is. And of course we have the 600 that doesn't want to break in. There's definitely a few high spots on it, but I'll get it working. So we just took a little Windex. Now see how I set my stones up, or my DMT plates. Always hoping to get a good one, but what I do is I'll take, like right here is the 220, but there's a Toma 140 on the bottom, sticker on the bottom of it. And I do that to all my plates. Single-sided plates, they'll have whatever and then an Toma on the bottom. That way, if I don't like the way this stone's performing, flip it and I got my Toma ready to go. So, Kershaw, of course, China. This is the Chill. Awesome little knife. All right, let's get going, guys. Can y'all see? Yes, you can. We're going to go to right about 17. Okay. Okay. I'm not feeling no terrible high spots on this one. It's super coarse, but it's supposed to be. It's brand spanking new. Okay, DMT. Y'all got this one decent. All right, let's go. Yeah, no complaints at this one. Just cutting nicely. It's the first DMT plate I've had in a long time that feels good. Looking good. Most important, we got a nice healthy burr. That's what we want. And we do. I want to remove a little bit more actually, but that'll work. Okay. So I'm happy to say that stone finally got a good one. Can y'all see? Okay, we're gonna go to, like I said, about 17 degrees per side. I'm not gonna flip this burr back. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it off because, again, I want to remove steel. I want to get that fatigued steel off of there. If DMT could just put out stones like this and every grit, we'd be good to go. This one's good. Very happy to see. Okay, we got a nice consistent bevel size from side to side. Nice consistent scratch pattern. However, I am going to remove a little bit more. Even though we've got a nice healthy burr, I'm going to remove a little bit more from this side. And guys, I want to tell y'all something. You'll hear a lot of sharpeners say, you know, on diamond plates, just let the weight of the knife do the sharpening. Don't apply pressure, okay? That causes a lot of people that are learning problems. That is not true. I'm going to show you right now. If I just use the weight of this knife, I'm not doing anything. Okay? That's not even removing metal. I mean, it may be teeny amounts, but no. You don't want to use a ton of pressure, but you want to use some. Say maybe a pound, maybe a pound of pressure, you know, just something like that, you know, a pound and a half pressure. You don't want to be, if you just feel the stone like digging into it, you're using too much. You want to feel the diamonds biting, but you also want to feel the steel skating across the diamonds. You don't want to feel it being crushed into them, because that's just going to rip them out of the nickel bedding. So I'd say around a pound of pressure. That's going to get your stone cutting. It's not too much pressure that you're going to be shortening the life of your stone, and it's going to be cutting efficiently. So yeah, when somebody says, "Oh, all I use is the weight of the knife," okay, that's ridiculous. The stone's not going to cut with that much weight. It's not going to happen. You'd be here for a month. Like, people say that, and then you get, you know, beginning sharpeners that they're sitting there and they're trying to listen to the stuff they hear people say, and what do you know? They're making 1,000 passes on their diamond plate, and they're not making any progression, and they don't know why. That's why. Pressure is your friend. Too much pressure is not your friend. You want a little bit of pressure. Let's see. I've never did this before, but let's see. I don't know if, only up to 200 grams. Well, this will at least give me an idea of what I'm putting on it. So, okay. So that's 200 grams. I'd say I'm putting, yeah, probably about, if that's 200 grams right there, I'm putting probably a little more than double that. So yes, probably right around 1 pound. Probably right around 1 pound. If I'm really wanting to remove steel quicker, I'll go, you know, maybe 1.5 pounds. But that's, you know, that's about it. And, you know, if you really want to strip steel all fast, hop over to your 140 and crank. Pure Windex. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. On your diamond plates, yes, you can use them dry, no problem. But if you want them to last longer, you don't want them to clog, you know, get loaded up. You want them to perform well. You don't want to be breathing steel dust. Windex. You don't need to buy any lapping fluids or anything like that. Windex. Windex, Windex, Windex. Okay, so here's where we're at. Got a nice healthy burr. So I, removed a pretty decent bit of steel. We got a consistent size edge bevel from side to side. Nice sticky point. The factory point was not perfect. Now it's perfect. So now we've got that nice heavy burr brought up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go dead on angle. Flip that burr. Alrighty. This is going to make this piece of steel perform a lot better. Notice it don't sound like I'm running into rocks anymore on this stone. It's cleaned up pretty decent, but there's still a few on there. Get up against that choil or plunge grind. I'll tell you, the factory plunge grind on these knives is not done very well. It was a bad design, so you got to work around that. It's kind of annoying. I won't give knives that are designed today passes on a poor plunge grind. This knife is like over 20 years old. This design's been around for a minute. So, you know, the plunge ain't no good. At least I can deal with it because it's an older knife. If it's a newer knife and it's got a bad plunge, I'm going to raise hell about it. Because this is something that's well known. There's no reason companies don't understand how to do a decent plunge grind. Okay, here's where we're at now. This is going to be a really nice, very, 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 very aggressive edge. And perfect for 8CR. I really don't ever suggest taking 8CR to anything finer than like this 600. Ooh, that is what you call a cat claw sticky tip. Alright, let's start refining that burr now. So you got a nice consistent scratch pattern. Start refining. Okay, now I'm going to just start fatiguing that burr. Flip-flopping it back and forth. When you're doing this, it's really important to be exactly on your angle. Okay, we're already nice and sticky. Still a little bit of, I feel a little burr left, which I expect. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start the very light alternating deburring passes. We're going to get lighter and lighter pressure with each pass. Down to where I'm actually using less than the pressure of the weight of the knife. I just want those diamonds just ever so slightly making contact with any of those burr fragments. Now we should have a beautiful edge. Nice, super sticky tip. Okay. Let's see where we're at. There's probably going to be a few burr fragments, just because it's not, you know, no fantastic steel, and plus it's still probably slightly heat. There's probably still some fatigue steel on there. Probably take another sharpening or two to get it off, so I don't expect the burr to come off super crisp. I don't really feel any snagging, but I know there's some there. Okay. So, yeah, Cyclopus says he sees a little bit of fragments. No problem. So we're going to go to a dry strop. We're going to go slightly above angle. Few passes. This is strictly just to remove any burr fragments. This is a dry strop, so angle isn't super important. Just, you know, you want to be at or slightly above your angle. That's going to knock off any of those little burr fragments. Okay. Now there should be, looking good. His blind ass can't see. It could be burr the size of that stone, he wouldn't be able to tell you. Oh yeah, that feels nice. Easily push cutting. Nice and aggressive. There might be a little piece fragment there. Push cutting nice. Okay. Cut myself. Yeah. Okay, it's looking good, but we are going to make one, maybe two passes per side on some 1 micron. At sharpening angle, of course, we don't want to be over. This is 1 micron. There we go, 2. Now we should have a ton of bite, but also very, very keen edge. Oh, very nice. This is the kind of edge you want on HCR. Easily swirl cutting. Yes, this is the kind of edge you want on your HCR. You're going to get surprising performance out of HCR with an edge like this. Somewhere in the, you know, 220, 320, 400, 500, 600 range. That's where you want it. This stone is probably cutting a little more aggressive than a 600 typically would, because there's still what feels like contamination on it. I would say realistic. The scratch pattern actually looks pretty close, but feel wise, I'd say this is a little more aggressive than your typical 600. Focus. Yeah, this is a little more aggressive than a normal 600 edge. Quite a bit more, actually. But that's exactly what you want. HCR performs really good with that, you know, nice, aggressive mid-grit edge. Hair popping sharp, of course. No, I've got splotches, ain't got hair hardly anywhere on my arms, and I got to stop doing that. But yeah, like this is the kind of edge you want on your HCR. It's going to get you the most out of it. Yeah, Cycloptopus agrees. Blind as duck don't know any better. So there you go, guys. Perfect HCR edge. 220, 600. Y'all have a good one.